Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. I ain't got no time to waste today. I've got a busy day ahead. I got a lot of work I need to get done outside, so let's not waste any time. First, I need to get something to eat before I get out there to work all day. So come on, go with me and let's get in this kitchen and fix us something to eat. I think today I'm going to use up some leftover meatloaf that I have hanging out in the fridge. I won't get it all gone, but we'll get some of it gone. We'll put the rest of it in the freezer. We're going to start with a skillet on this stove eye. We're going to put some olive oil in it. And I've got some potatoes O'Brien hanging out in my freezer. So let's see if we can get rid of these today. If you've been around for a minute though, you know that I do like a little more peppers than what's in there. So I've got these, and we're going to use some of these in there. That should do it. I'm just going to get these stirred around in there, get them coated in that oil, and we'll get these fried up. Then we'll add our meatloaf in. Today I'm going to use some of this meatloaf, and I'm going to make a meatloaf hash, and the rest of it I'm going to put in the freezer. So it looks like there is one slice right here. That is probably going to be enough for what I'm doing. So the rest of this will go in the freezer. We'll pull it out and eat it another night for another meal. So I'm just going to get this meatloaf ready by just cutting it in cubes. It's cold, so it should slice pretty good. This is a great way to get rid of meatloaf if you have it hanging around and you've been eating it already for a couple of days and you're tired of just plain meatloaf. Mix it up a little bit. Make you a meatloaf hash. It's still meatloaf, it's just in a different form. Let's get the peppers and onions going really good before we put this in because this is already cooked. I am going to add a little salt to my potatoes and a little pepper and a little onion powder. I'm going to add just a little bit more oil to my pan. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put my meatloaf in. Going to get that stirred around in there with those potatoes. Going to let that meatloaf get heated all the way through, and then we'll dish it up. Okay, that only took just a minute to get that heated. Let's get this dished up. I don't know if you can hear that sizzling or not, but I am going to add a little bit of this mild white cheddar on the top. Let that melt down. Okay, that cheese is starting to melt just a little bit. Let's go ahead and give this a taste. And don't mind me, these are work clothes. I'm always doing something around the house, and today it's going to be outside. So I put on some of the oldest clothes I have because I'm not messing up good clothes. Anyway, here's our meatloaf hash. This is my first meal for the day, so we'll call it brunch. Now I know most of you know how to make a hash. So that's not the purpose of the video, showing you how to make a hash. The purpose of the video is to give you ideas of how to use leftovers up, what to put with them, how to make a completely new dish. Now I know most of you get that, but let's get back to taste testing. I kind of went down a rabbit hole there. I was chasing a squirrel. Let's taste this. Okay, back to the food. Looks and smells really good. This is actually really good. Great use of the meatloaf in a different form. Putting it with something else. I know the night that we originally ate it, we had, I think it was mashed potatoes and gravy. I think with black eyed peas is what we had with it. So it was really good. Keith is the one who actually made the meatloaf. It's very flavorful. So I knew it would be great with the potatoes au brine and the peppers and onions, topped with some cheese to make a hash. I'm gonna go eat. For this recipe, you want to get you a skillet, put it on the stove. You want to put you either some butter or some oil in a pan because we're going to saute some peppers and onions. I'm just waiting on my butter to get heated up a little bit. We're going to use some leftover meatloaf today, and we're going to make an open-faced sloppy joe. Got my peppers and onions. They're going in. If I need some more, I can always add some more in. My peppers and onions are coming along really nice, so I'm going to go ahead and I've got some meatloaf that I had already cut off, and I've just kind of chunked it up, and I'm just going to dump that in there. I'm going to stir that around with those peppers and onions. I'm going to break that meatloaf down just a little bit more. Now it's cooked all the way through, but it is cold. So I'm going to let that heat all the way through, and then we'll make our sauce. Now we're going to make our sauce. So we're going to add in just a little bit of water. This is 1/4 cup, but I'm only going to start with about half of it. Next, we're going to add in just a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. Just a splash. Next, we're going to add in just a little bit of brown sugar. Now I've got, I don't know what kind of spoon this is. It's a little bit bigger than a teaspoon. Let's go ahead and get those 3 ingredients mixed up in there. Next, we're going to add in some ketchup. And some mustard. I'm going to add in just a little bit of black pepper. And last but not least, I'm going to add in some chili powder. Alright, let's get all that mixed up. All good and combined. And we're going to let this simmer for about, oh, I don't know, at least 5 minutes. I am going to taste it in just a minute just to make sure that I have enough of everything in it. Now you can eat yours however you want to, on whatever kind of bread you want to eat it on. I've got a bun, and I'm going to put mine in this pan right here. I've got my oven preheated. I want mine toasted. So I'm going to put mine on this bun right here. Now I'm going to sprinkle me a little cheese on top. Okay, I'm going to pop this in the oven and let the bun toast up and that cheese melt. Here they are, fresh out of the oven. I'm going to set them over here for just a couple of minutes and let them cool down slightly. Then we'll have us a taste test. Okay, y'all, I'm here with an open-faced sloppy joe. Looks and smells great. So I'm going to get one right here. We're going to take us a bite. This is so good. I could have left it in the oven for a few more minutes to let it toast up just a little bit more, but it's fine like it is. This is great. Go make you one. Now I gotta go think of another way to use up some more of that meatloaf. I'm gonna go eat. Alright, next recipe. Let's turn some of this leftover meatloaf into a tasty quesadilla. Let's start with some peppers and onions in some oil on the stove top. Let's get that sauteed up. Now I've got me some meatloaf in this bowl right here, and I'm just going to take it. It's cold. I'm just going to take it and I'm going to cut it up into small pieces. Just get it off over in there in that pan with the peppers and onions. We'll get it all broke up in just a minute. I had a little half a slice right here, but I'm thinking that that may be enough. Let's go with that right there. I think that's going to be plenty. As that gets heated up, we'll get it broke apart. Get it mixed in with the peppers and onions. And just let it heat through. I'm going to add just a little bit of water in there. That was probably about 1/8 of a cup. And I'm going to add me in a spoon of my taco seasoning. Get that all mixed up together and let that simmer for just a few minutes. In the meantime, back here, I've put me a little bit of butter on this griddle. I'm just going to let that melt down. We're going to get us a tortilla. And you could go a lot of different ways here with this meatloaf that I am transforming. You could make a burrito, you could make tacos, but I'm going to make a quesadilla. Okay, I've got some refried beans that I pulled out of the freezer and I heated up in the microwave. And I'm just going to put me a layer of these refried beans on here. I'm just trying to use all kind of leftovers up. Okay, and that gets those refried beans gone. I'm going to go ahead and take this tortilla. I'm going to put it back here on that griddle. I'm going to take my now made taco meat, I guess, quesadilla meat, and I'm going to layer that on. Next, I'm going to put me some cheese. You can add whatever you want in. If you want jalapenos, put those in. You can do some green onions. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fold this over. And we're going to let that toast up. Okay, this first side is finished. I've got it flipped over. I think I managed to flip it over without losing any of the inside. Now you can eat it as is. You can make you some Mexican fried rice. You could eat you a side salad with it. A salad would be really good with it. You could just top it with some lettuce and tomatoes, guacamole, just whatever you wanted to do. Okay, I think this is ready. Let's pull it off this heat. there we go. A meatloaf quesadilla. Let's dress it up just a little bit. Okay, I'm going to put me a little sour cream on it. A little of the creamy queso. And a little taco sauce. Let's give it a taste. Okay, y'all. I've got this meatloaf quesadilla. We're going to give it a taste. I've got a little bit of everything on it. Here we go. That's good. That's really good. If you got meatloaf hanging out, go see what you can make with it today. Besides just a meatloaf sandwich. I'm going to go eat. I'm going to start this next recipe out by getting me a cup of water and one of these beef bouillon cubes. Now I'm going to heat this water up in the microwave, and then I'm just going to dissolve this in this water. Now I'm not even going to use a whisk. I just got this little fork right here. I'm going to help this along by busting that bouillon cube up in there so it can start dissolving a little bit faster. So back here I've put some water in a pot. I'm going to bring that to a boil. And we're going to boil some of these egg noodles. While I'm waiting for my pot of water for the egg noodles to come to a boil, I've got a skillet on this eye right here, and I've got it on a medium heat. Now I'm going to add me a little bit of olive oil into this pan, and I'm also going to add me just a little bit of butter in there, probably about a ½ tablespoon. We're going to let that butter melt down and get mingled in with that oil. Now don't you go to getting all upset with me because I hadn't told you what we're making. I haven't told you what we're making yet on this last recipe because it doesn't have a name. I'm using leftover meatloaf, and I am making a dish on the fly. So I think we'll just call it meatloaf veggie pasta. I guess that's going to be the name because it doesn't have a formal name. This is not a recipe that I found anywhere. This is just me in my kitchen cooking using up leftover meatloaf and some veggies I pulled from the freezer that need to be used, and some leftover sour cream and some egg noodles. So there you go. But right now, right here, I'm going to whisk those two together to make sure they're good and combined. Now my water has come to a boil up here. I'm just going to take these egg noodles. I'm just going to throw me some in there. So a couple of handfuls, I guess. We'll go with a third. That should do it. We're just going to boil those al dente. Back to this skillet over here. I'm going to add me in a spoon of this self-rising flour. You can use all-purpose if you want to. I'm just using what I've got hanging out. And just a heaping spoon right there. If I need some more, I'll add some more. I'm just going to whisk this around. If you haven't figured out yet, we're making us a gravy. So I'm just going to cook this flour down just a little bit. Get that flour taste cooked out. I'll be right back. Okay, now I'm going to take my beef bouillon that I got mixed up over here, And I'm going to start slowly adding that in. I'm just going to do a little bit at a time. And when you're making a homemade gravy, you just have to have some patience with it. Now, I'm not going to add any salt to this because this beef bouillon is salty enough. Right now, I've used about a half a cup of my bouillon. You just want to whisk that around. You want to make sure there's not any lumps in your gravy. I am going to add my last quarter cup of bouillon into that and get that whisked around. And then we'll add some more ingredients. Now, I'm not adding salt, but I am adding some onion powder. And I'm just seasoning to taste. And of course, I'm going to add me some black pepper. I'm going to get that mixed up in there really good. Next up, I'm going to add me in some frozen peas and carrots. Again, no measurements. I'm just going to toss in what I think is a good amount. We'll start with that. I'm going to add in just a little splash of this Worcestershire sauce. And now I'm going to add in the last of my meatloaf that I had. Now I'm just going to take it straight out of this bag. And it's like 1.5 pieces of meatloaf, and I'm just going to chunk it up into this gravy. Let me turn my heat down on that just a little bit. Just going to get that meatloaf mixed in with the veggies and the gravy. I may have to add me just a little bit more pepper. This is looking really good though. We're going to let that meatloaf heat completely through. By then the egg noodles should be finished cooking and we'll get this put together. Okay, my egg noodles are finished. I'm going to take some of this pasta water and I'm going to add it into that gravy. And now I'm going to drain these. Let's get that pasta water stirred around in there. Now I'm still working on trying to get a container of sour cream gone out of this house because Keith doesn't eat sour cream and I feel like I've been working on this thing forever. But I'm going to add a big heaping spoonful of this sour cream into that. Let me get that mixed up in there really good. It's going to make it nice and creamy. Just going to let that heat through and we'll let this simmer for just a couple of minutes. I never did add that pepper I said I was going to. Let's throw a little more pepper in here. This looks really delicious. Smells good too. So I'm just going to take this meatloaf and veggies and gravy and I'm going to pour it into my pot of drained pasta. Okay, let's get that stirred around and mixed up. Okay, this is sat for a couple of minutes. I'm going to go ahead and get some of it put in this bowl. Now that made enough for me to eat again. So it's almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon. This is my first meal today. I had a doctor's appointment. And I don't like to eat before I go to the doctor because I want a fasting blood sugar done. It was just my 6-month deal where I go and have labs done and all that fun stuff so I can get refills on my medications. Anyway, so I didn't eat before I went, and I had errands to run after, so I'm just now getting something to eat. Let's give this a taste. Hey y'all, okay. Like I said, there's enough left that if I do get hungry later on tonight, then I can eat that, or I can eat some popcorn or a bowl of cereal, just whatever. But I'm going to give this a try. It looks and smells really good. This is really good. Great use of leftover meatloaf. Don't be scared to make a meatloaf. Don't be scared to make a full-size meatloaf. It doesn't mean you got to eat it all at one time or even in a couple of days. What you don't eat, take it, slice it, put it in the freezer, pull it out later, eat you a meatloaf sandwich, or make you a sloppy joe. Take any of these recipe ideas, make it your own. You can use meatloaf in a variety of ways, and it be absolutely delicious. So, I'm going to go eat. That's going to be it for this video. I hope it was helpful and maybe made you think about some different ways that you could use leftover meatloaf that you may have. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, share the video, leave me a comment below, and let me know how you would use up your leftover meatloaf. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video.